Here is one of the single greatest hi-fi purchases I've ever made. It's the Project S2 Digital DAC and headphone amplifier, and preamp for that matter. And it's like it was built with me in mind. You know that scene in Game of Thrones where you discover why Hodor is called Hodor, and it blows your mind and you're tearful and emotional and bamboozled and staggered? Well, this is the effect this device has on me. I'm not joking. Money's a very vulgar thing to discuss, and I've spent many hundreds and thousands of pounds on hi-fi equipment in the past, and without doubt this is one of the best ways in which I've spent money ever on hi-fi equipment. I think initially I have to confess that I've never owned a headphone amplifier. I own a pair of Grado SR125s, which I have nicknamed Trigger's Broom. If you're not in on the joke there, from Only Fools and Horses, Trigger has rigorously maintained his street sweeper's broom over the years by replacing the pole and head many, many times, and that's how I feel about these headphones. I've trapped the wire in a drawer and clipped it before now. I've set on the headband and destroyed that. I've blown a capsule and had to buy a replacement pair, so I'm confused as to how much of these headphones are original, in all honesty. However, I've owned some part of them at least for about 15 years, and over that time I've really come to love them. I mean, it doesn't feel like I'm wearing headphones at all, even as a glasses wearer. They're incredibly comfortable. They're very transparent with open recordings, and they're very forgiving with shocking recordings. So they're a great, I hate the word all-rounder. Was that 2 words? Anyway, I hate the expression, but it sums these headphones up perfectly. The only area where they lack really is if the doorbell goes and you flinch slightly to your left, the headphones are still facing forward, but that's because they're not very constricting when it comes to clamping your head. Anyhow, enough about the headphones. They're a wonderful set of headphones, and now they're partnered with a wonderful headphone amplifier, so automatically I'm getting much better results. I'm sure via optical or coax and then powered by a separate 5V power supply, I get very good results as well from a CD player or whatever it is I happen to connect to them. But so far I might be cutting short this review very abruptly, but that's because the results that I've had when this is connected via USB to my laptop have been astounding. It's a short, slim metal box, and I don't mean it's got a metal top and bottom. The whole chassis itself is incredibly well constructed. The volume control on the front just seems to be intuitive with the amount that I want to whap it up or whap it down by a certain amount if it's too loud or too quiet. I haven't used the input selector yet, or the filters for that matter, predominantly because I've been using a file format called MQA. And when you're listening in MQA, you can't adopt any of the filter inputs anyway. I can only inject MQA audio into this via USB, which I do via Tidal, which if you've been following my series of videos just recently, you'll know I'm incredibly happy with. Initially very reluctant to make this purchase because I was only buying an MQA compatible DAC because of Tidal, because that's the way that they transport their high-res files to people. But I'm so glad I did. As well as being a headphone amplifier, it's also a preamplifier in the traditional sense. And what I mean by that is it will process the sound via optical coax or the USB connection. And then this volume control is not only relevant to the headphone output, but to the RCA outputs on the back as well. So I can have this as part of a hi-fi into a power amplifier for that matter, and conceivably use this as a fully comprehensive preamp. That just blows my mind. It's also Roon capable. Now, I am supposed to be editing right now a video about Roon and how impressed I am with it. However, I'm slightly sidetracked by this fella here who arrived with me yesterday, and I haven't been able to stop listening to it since. There's no such thing as the perfect hi-fi product, but this is as close as I've ever got. Okay, the remote control that comes with it, which is supposed to be credit card size, is a bit ropey. And if I was to nitpick, I don't like the feet. But that's about it. In every other sense of the word, this thing is perfect. Now, I mentioned something there called MQA audio, and you might be very unfamiliar with this, and that's because It's quite a new format, and I had my concerns about MQA audio, especially when I went on the website and tried to purchase an MQA audio track to try. Found that the link is broken entirely, and that's not top of the pops for somebody who's trying to promote their services. However, they're alive, well and kicking on Tidal and have a very comprehensive catalogue. One of the things I'm most impressed with about this is if you do use it as a preamplifier and use the RCA connections on the back, rather than being a line output, this is a variable control on the front. And then when you plug the headphones in, it mutes the RCA outputs. But not only that, it switches to the volume that you last used on headphones. A lot of people will be using this in line level mode. They'll have an integrated amplifier and they'll just want this to output its peak volume. So they'll turn the dial until it says 0 dB, which is maximum output. But then when they'll plug headphones in, they won't want it to be 0 dB because that would just blow your eardrums out. And the great thing about this is plug in the headphones, it'll go to the last volume that you played your headphones at, remove the headphones, and it goes to the last volume which you played your line level at. I've not seen that on any previous piece of hi-fi equipment. It's absolutely inspired. If you get an opportunity to listen to this through a good set of headphones connected to a laptop computer that's playing Tidal MQA files, I have no doubt in my mind you will be blown away. I've listened to several albums that I'm familiar with from years gone by that have either been remastered or original studio masters have been dug out and then put through the MQA process, or they're newly recorded albums which have been given the MQA rubber stamp. And either which way, they're simply astonishing. I was going to waste your time doing an MP3 versus FLAC versus MQA back to back sort of thing, but there's simply no point. The difference is unbelievable. A good part of that might be the fact that it's a great headphone amplifier. A certain part of that might be that it's a good external DAC, irrespective of the MQA. But either which way, I'm very, very, very pleased with the results. So my advice would be to you, if you're the sort of person who would ideally like a great big hi-fi system, or had one and had to sell it for life reasons, and you can steal yourself away to a quiet space with a great set of headphones and you can get yourself one of these, do it. Don't even think twice about it. Honestly, it will improve your life, I swear to you. I have been as miserable as sin through this entire process of testing and evaluating and testing and evaluating. And if you could see my face when I've got this connected to my laptop, honestly, I couldn't evangelise about this product more if I had invented it myself. Fact. So I'm going to sound like a bit of an infomercial here. Wish you could smile more? Buy one of these. Get a Tidal subscription. Improve your life. You'll be glad you did. Hand modelling. As if anyone could have a hand model with hands as rough as mine. So with all that said, I am supposed to be editing a video about Roon, but I'm not going to. I'm going to listen to my headphones some more. You can't stop me. Gonna do a more half-assed job of plugging this in or what?